Now, what has been our major downfall in this third test? Scores of 109 and 163. That clearly shows that our batting is struggling. And
Mm.
folks, whoever is watching this podcast, please do remember that we are no longer in the era of the Fab Four, right? Who used to come
Mm.
dance down the track, hit the bowlers for sixes,
Yeah.
cover drive them for fours, leg lance them for fours. We are in an era now where our top order batsmen struggle against spin on dry spinning surfaces. Let's
Yes.
accept it.
Why you
It's a
would not bowl
fact.
your third spinner right and till the end? You got emotion, and by then the game was over. My point was till 10th or 11th over, if you're not getting any wicket, you try your third spinner. And he is playing as a batsman who bats at 9, which is even worse. You need to be smart about it, and you see the weakness, which is batting very clearly, where your best batter is a bowler who is not bowling. So that's like one of the stupidest paradoxes I can think about.
Hello all, and welcome to a new video on our YouTube channel, The Third Man Musings. Today we'll be reviewing the third test between India and Australia. Well, they say cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties, and especially Test cricket, which apes life, right? One day you are on top, and the very next day you can be at the rungs below. And today it was certainly proven so. India, who were flying high after the first two tests, everybody predicted a 4-0 whitewash in India's favor against Australia. But what a comeback by Australia! They have come back big time and brought the series now to a 2-1 margin, winning the indoor test in a matter of 2.25 days. So we'll be reviewing the third test today. What were the turning points? What were things that Australia did right? What were things where India went wrong? And how this plays into the World Test Championship final scenario now. Remember, if India lose the fourth test now, not only will this series be drawn, then they'll have to depend on the results between Sri Lanka and New Zealand for India to go through to the WTC final. So, Sumit, your initial thoughts on this third test between India and Australia?
So yeah, Sujay, like we predicted in our channel, right? It'll be 4-0 whitewash, and now it's not. And it's very, it mimics the last Ultimate Test series in a very strange way, wherein the captain goes back home and Warner is gone, Aston Agar has traveled back home, Hazelwood has gone. So this team was very depleted. But the good thing was whoever was coming in were the players who were going to make a difference. Who named like Stark and Green. Green didn't contribute that much, but he took that awesome catch for Shreyas, I think. And Stark took the wicket of Shreyas also in one of the innings, right? So they did like more than expected, and kudos to them actually. We can't really blame India because we can blame. I mean, we will blame when we go ahead in the video, but I have to give more credit to Australia than say India didn't do well because they played out of their skin. And Smith's captaincy was a revelation. I think that was the turning point. You could see the difference in the approach of the Aussies. They were more confident, more attacking. The in and out fields were so good, and the batting approach changed. No sweeps. That was the major change I could see. Like Khwaja swept a
Right.
bit once he made a bit of runs, but they weren't sweeping anymore. That created the biggest difference, I think. So yeah, we can start with the day-wise analysis. Like let's go day-wise quickly, and then yeah, let's see what we can do to change the fate of the fourth test.
Right. So, starting off day one, India won the toss, and now a strange stat, right? All three captains won the toss in the
Test match.
first three test matches,
Mm.
decided to
And
bat
lost.
first, and all three lost the match eventually, right? So this sort of challenges the traditional or conservative wisdom that we have had in test cricket in India, where usually you win the toss, bat first, kind of have a major advantage in winning the match, right? But that has not been the case. Rohit and Shubman, in fact, started well, right? I think they got 27 runs within the first 5 overs
Oh.
itself, and there also there was a lot of confusion. Rohit was, out first ball. They Aussies
Uh,
didn't review it. He was LBW in the same over. Aussies didn't review it. So within the first over itself, there was a lot of. Things happening, and after that Kuhneman came into the attack, and Rohit got out. He got Shubman caught as well. What was interesting to see was the moisture and the freshness of the pitch contributed together to make the ball spin a lot, right? It was spinning, and it was spinning at a fast pace. So when this is a combination, then it becomes very tough for the batsman to survive. And at very soon India were two down. Pujar also got a ball that viciously turned, right? And then the cat was amongst the pigeons. Kohli looked good for some point of time, but
Mm.
then Murphy got the better of
Yes,
him, and yeah, Jadeja looked very tentative. He was keeping bat and pad together, and invariably the ball was hitting his pad. So he went out early. The big difference this time was the Australian spinners were bowling very much on a good length area, right? In the previous match, they were bowling full and they were getting hit by the Indian batsmen, through the covers or straight over their heads. This time, they were allowing the ball to turn. So I think that contributed a lot to the Indian wickets falling. 84 for 7 at lunch. India were, almost
wow.
out of the match in the first session itself. And bewildering that one of the best batsmen in our lineup in this series, at least, Aksar, came down to bat at 8 in the first innings and 9 in the second
One
innings.
second.
So a major impetus was lost, on 109. Sumit, your thoughts on the Indian batting and how brilliantly, Poonam bowled. We did criticize him in our
Yes.
previous video, but I think he's answered all his critics, including us.
Yes, he looked better Jadeja to give the biggest compliment to him. Jadeja didn't look so good, and that's what he bowled like Jadeja on the spot again and again and got the ball to turn a bit. One thing which was noticeable, as you said, spin was so much, but the bounce wasn't there, and that was a potent combination on a day one session, one wicket, right? And it looked like a landmine, and I was like, even if we get 150, will be good. And we reached 100 barely because of Umesh's blows. I mean, he was just slogging his way off, and he
So
got two
entertaining
sixes.
to watch him bat always, right?
Yeah, he helped us. Otherwise, we weren't taking 100 also. So we
Right.
barely made 109, and Murphy, I think, is there for Kohli only. Seems like Sachin used to have these bowlers who used to get him out. Murphy's meant for Kohli. Others take other wickets. So 109, we were always behind the 8 ball, and then the best hope was to get Australia bundled out by 150, 160, and we kind of achieved that. But that was lucky. We'll come to that later. But Australia's batting was very good. Khwaja again showing his class and very assured. Marnus and Smith, they looked very positive, and that was one of the highlights for me, where they took the game, um, and they looked like they weren't troubled by the spin and the bounce, and the pitch seemed a bit different. Again, these are things like you mentioned, right? The moisture probably had gone, and the Indian bowlers did not look that potent. So by end of day one, Australia were ahead, and they looked assured. Coming to day two, again the first half an hour, 1 hour, Green and Hanscom. So they played very good defensive cricket. The good forward strides, and it seemed ominous. I was thinking, okay, they'll make 250 and everything, and then all hell break loose because our X factor comes in, Mr. Umesh Yadav. So that was one of the surreal experiences to see Umesh Yadav coming and changing the game for India. Did you see that?
Yeah, I loved it, right? I mean, 185 for 4, as you said, we were looking at maybe 250, 275, and the match almost out of India's reach within the first innings itself, right? But he came in, and what makes Umesh such a lethal bowler in Indian pitches is he gets the ball to skid through, right? And whenever it skids through, obviously it keeps low, so the batsman is always in danger of getting LBW or bowled, and he is very good with his reverse swing. So, and kudos to him, he came out of a personal tragedy, right? He lost
Oh
his
yeah.
father a few days back. So big shout out to him, for putting in this performance after a personal tragedy. And kudos to the team management also for backing him. So that was great. And the collapse was spectacular, right? 6 wickets for 12 runs. We were handed a 88 run deficit. And moving on to the second innings, I think again the intent was to be positive, but I think Shubman tried to be ultra positive. He
What?
came down the track, tried to hoik line for a six and got bowled.
Yeah.
Pujara looked extremely assured, right, in the
Yeah.
second innings. Just like Khawaja was very assured. Khawaja was, cover driving the ball a lot, and then he, started sweeping only after he got 30, 40 runs. So his footwork was very assured, and similarly, Pujara also looked very assured. I remember a couple of times he came down the wicket and cover drove a
Mm.
line, and then. Even if he was going back, he was going back and
Was
glancing the ball. So it
there was
was not like
intent
he
for
was getting
once?
stuck on the
Yeah.
crease. Yeah,
Yeah.
he
There's a
was not getting
difference. That
stuck on the
intent was
crease.
there.
Rohit got stuck on the crease and in fact
Mm.
got LBD.
And Kohli also. Both of them got stuck on the
Right.
crease. So,
Right.
and then came, I think, the game changing moment
Yeah.
where Iyer came. So, the way that guy batted, I was like, okay, this guy is actually the best player of spin as they claim. And he took the attack and he destroyed Kuhneman's length. He rattled him. And he was just, and they showed a comparison between how Kohli and Shreyas played the same ball, where they went back on
Right.
the back foot. And Kohli missed it, he got LBW. But this guy just flicked it for a four, like effortlessly. So when he was batting, things were changing. And half an hour of Shreyas, we would have crossed a 100 lead and the confidence would have
Easily.
been there. Akshar, Ashwin would have
Easily.
then
Yeah.
contributed. But then again, that's where I think Spith comes in. He saw how he was handling the spinners, immediately gets back stuck. And I was thinking the first ball would be a short ball, but it was on the leg like a half
Yeah.
volley, and Shreyas just flicked it, and then a magic catch by Paja. So again, one of those captaincy master strokes where you could see the writing on the wall that okay, this guy is not going to fall against spin. You get a pacer because that's his uncomfortable area. It's unfortunate he got out not to a short ball as per his usual, but that changed the game. I mean, that was my turning point in on day two where India could have like gone ahead because they looked. Pujara was looking so assured. I was very surprised with I'm so used to Pujara just dead batting every ball, and he looked so like with full intent, and Shreyas was supporting him. That half an hour, 1 hour more, and we would have been like through in this game. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I think both worked out during the course of that partnership that if they try to block and, spend some time on the crease, eventually one good ball
Mm.
would get them, right? I think, I remember Sunil Gavaskar also making a statement, yesterday that it was such a pitch, it was not made for any batsman to get 100 there, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
if somebody got 100, it had to be a
Yeah, the 50
masterclass
was a
inning. So,
100. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it was that sort of a pitch where the inevitable ball would eventually come. So I think they did that well, and bad luck for us that Kawaja pulled off that spectacular catch.
Yeah.
And then again, Aksar came down at 9. Pujara and Aksar tried to stitch a partnership, but once Pujara got out, the
Got
writing
out.
was on the wall, right? And then with just 5 minutes to go in the end of day's play, Aksar at the other end, and Siraj tries to go for a wide slog again. I
Uh,
mean, some of the things were very befuddling from India's point of view, right? One was in the first innings, Jadeja convinced Rohit to go for three
the
reviews,
reviews.
which were absolute blunders, right? We burnt reviews within the first half of the innings itself, and then Siraj, having a run out in the first innings, and then going for a slog in the second innings, and there were various points of times where India were mentally not. Up where they should have been,
And
and conversely, Smith, great marshalling of
field.
his bowling resources. His field sets
Mm.
were very good, and the way he ensured his batsmen were up to the mark also was super.
So yeah. And then day three was a mere formality. I mean, if it was 120, 150, there is some kind of pressure, but 75 was nothing. It just, some hits and India would have lost confidence. Even then, I think from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m., we did a very good job. There was a bit of tension. Ashwin took the wicket of Khwaja on the second ball, and the first ball was also a very close miss. And Head was not able to read him at all. Jadeja was a shocker for me. He could not maintain that length which he has, that length which where he keeps hitting the ball at one spot. He was giving those easy singles. Credit to Marnus and Travis also for just rotating the strike, not getting the pressure to. And they knew there will be a time when they will counter attack, and that ball change really changed everything. I don't know what happened to the ball and what kind of ball came in. Again, Nitin Menon picked that ball, so I don't know what should Nitin
Yes, been
Menon
in the
is doing.
firing line throughout. Yeah.
So he only took that ball. I was seeing both the umpires were checking, and Nathan Mane picked the ball and like not good. And then we got bashed around. And then coming to now the changes, right? And what can change in the next match. So one thing which shocked me was lack of using Akshar, and this guy was on track to become the fastest bowler to 50 test wickets, and now he's going to miss it since Jadeja came back. But you can clearly see, your premier spinners have bowled 12 overs and no wicket is coming. You have 75 only. Why won't you try your third spinner, who is actually very deadly? Because he has more height, has a different style. People call him a like for like replacement for Jadeja, but they have a different skill set in terms of how they bowl. So why you would not bowl your third spinner right and till the end? You got Imation, and by then the game was over. My point was till 10th or 11th over, if you're not getting any wicket, you try your third spinner. And he is playing as a batsman who bats at 9, which is even worse. So that really like, blows my mind that why are you not using all your resources? I mean, respect your seniors. I know Ashwin and Jadeja legends in India, but if it's not working and you don't have runs to play with, you try all the options, right? That's captaincy. I think Rohit missed a trick today. I don't think we would have won anyways, but at least
Yeah,
the
yeah.
pressure
I
would have
mean,
been there.
winning was out of the question, right? I think even we were chatting after the second day's play that even if India made life difficult for Australia, there was no way they were going to be bundled out within 75.
Mm.
But then, yeah, at least they could have made life tougher. Akshar could have, at least maybe, let's say, if he had got 3-4 overs in, maybe got a couple of wickets, it would have given him confidence for the next test as well, right? Because the, he was so awesome in our second test, right? He
Yeah,
saved India from that precarious position of
yeah,
129
we
for
would have lost
7.
that. Yeah,
So
mm.
I don't know. He was underutilized both with the bat, both
Bat
with
and
the
ball.
as well as the ball. So it was befuddling why that happened, and he must be wondering as well that what did I do wrong. So
Yeah,
hopefully he'll get more of a bowl in the final test, and definitely he should be batting above Bharat and Ashwin.
Ashwin to start with.
There has to be no doubt on that. He has to bat
Yeah,
at 7 at least.
at least, or you play him at five even. No, this guy was not out in the entire test match. So that
Mhm.
shows that he was handling the pitch, even though, and he's left-hander, and they had two off spinners, so it was even more difficult for him. So
Right.
you were promoting Jadeja, you might have promoted him at five if you wanted to get that left-right combination. I know Shreyas is one of your best players. You play him at five or six, so I know the slots are not there, but definitely if he's showing such form, you give him the confidence and send him after Kohli. I mean, some would
Right.
suggest you send him above Kohli also. Let him bat with Pujara in the beginning and then let Kohli come in a situation when there's less pressure for once. Because he's struggling against spin. It's like very apparent. He's not playing so well against spin in test matches. So that I hope they utilize him much better. And secondly is the pitches. I think the discussion was around having Ahmedabad as a green pitch to prepare for the WTC final, but that will change very
Definitely.
honestly. So we'll have a spin friendly wicket, which begs the question then: do you change the 11? I think you should. Why do you need to play two paces? You think we should play two paces?
I think no, because if you see the stats for this test, Siraj has bowled just 6 overs in the first innings, no
Yeah,
overs in the second innings. So 6 overs, why are we wasting a spot in the team, right?
yeah.
Now, what has been our major downfall in this third test? Scores of 109 and 163. That clearly shows that our batting is struggling. And
Mm,
folks, whoever is watching this podcast, please do remember that we are no longer in the era of the Fab Four, right? Who used to come
mm,
dance down the track, hit the bowlers for sixes,
yeah.
cover drive them for four, leg lance them for fours. We are in an era now where our top order batsmen struggle against spin on dry spinning surfaces. Let's
Yes.
accept it. It's a fact.
Mm,
Because even in Ranji Trophy wickets, we don't get square turners. They are wickets that are decent to bat for the first 3 days and then they take turn from the fourth day onwards, right? So
mm,
our batsmen who are coming up in the domestic circuit also aren't accustomed to playing as much spin as our pros used to do in the past, right? So
mm,
clearly, I think we need an extra batter. We'll probably have to fit in Surya after Shreyas, and then I'm definitely not in favor of Jadeja batting at five. I know
yes.
he's a quality all rounder at home, but five is just a
Yeah.
leap above for him. I think he has to be at 6 or 7. Your
Seven.
thoughts, Sumit? Surya
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
in and maybe Siraj going out?
Or you play Kuldeep, but then Akshar is underbowled. Kuldeep will also get underbowled, so it doesn't make sense to get Kuldeep when I have four spinners. So get a batter in. Surya is one. Kishan is an option. It's a left field option. You get a left-hander who will try to crack from some boundaries, because this is we are playing on pitches where 30-40 is more than enough. We do not need big scores or people digging in and making runs. Only Pujara is doing
Correct.
that. Honestly, nobody else is going to do that. So you can go for Surya. You have Kishan again. Rahul is there, but I doubt he's coming back. If he comes back in the middle of order, I think all hell will break loose.
Then
But if he comes
Venkatesh
back,
Prasad will get activated on Twitter again.
but if he if he comes and India wins, then Rahul is needed for this team. He's lucky. We won two matches when he was in the side. Maybe he's the lucky charm we're missing. So three options. Mostly Surya should come in, but the way India has been playing so many years, I doubt they'll drop the two pacer theory. But it doesn't make sense. I mean, if you will have a spin friendly wicket again, you don't need to play your two spaces. It's okay if you have a balanced wicket where you expect the seam and swing to happen initially, then the pitch dries out, then your spinners come to picture. So they need to be smart about it, and you see the weakness, which is batting very clearly, where your best batter is a bowler who is not bowling. So that's like one of the stupidest paradoxes I can think about. So
Yeah,
and
this
make
test I
pitches,
think India was not up mentally.
they're
In
complacent.
that.
I think it's what it's done
Yeah,
because we
yeah,
had got the trophy. We like won it again. They were like, okay, we retained it. We'll win it as well. Australia looked down and out. So I get complacency can set in, but they need to be smart about the pitches. You make pitches which are suitable to your home conditions, but don't make it so spin friendly that the other spinners become better than your spinners. Because our spinners are genuinely more quality. They will bowl better even on pitches that are not that conducive, but they don't have such great spinners, right? So if they give them a dust bowl, they become more potent. So it's something like what India gets when they go abroad. When we get green tracks, and our paces who are 120 or 130, they become dangerous, and then it equalizes out. So they should think that how we have taken advantage, we should not provide that advantage. The two major points I think that you have to use Akshar better, and your pitches need to be spin friendly, but not like this. I mean, not day one having a landmine. So let's see
correct.
how
And
it
it
goes.
reminds me of the Pune test, which was the first test in
Smith
2017 series as well,
17.
right? Same, it was a
Yeah.
landmine. Smith's masterclass saved Australia, but India got bowled out for 109 and 103 in that test, right? So it's that should have been a learning from that. But let's see. I think clear call out there shouldn't be a landmine. Just that there should be
Mm-hmm.
assistance for spinners, and our spinners have the skill set where they can exploit it more.
That's right.
But credit to Lion, I think before we wrap up this video,
Oh yeah.
in previous tours of Australia to India, Lion just had one match. I mean, one very good haul in Bangalore of 8 wickets. But this series, first test he got
First
outbowled
is
by
news.
Murphy. But last
Murphy.
two tests he's come back with a bang. He's no longer flighting the ball up, which is his traditional strength, right? He's pushing
Mm-hmm.
the ball through, bowling it on that good length and letting the pitch do the rest. So he'll be a factor going forward for the fourth test as well. India will have to find a way to counter him, Kuhneman and Murphy if we want to win the Border Gavaskar Trophy 3-1. That's for sure.
Yeah, let's see. We are in a good state. I still believe. I mean, we should make it to the WTC final, but yeah, we should win this series, not draw it. And let's hope the logical changes are made, if any. So yeah, let's see.
Sure. So that was a wrap, folks, for the third test review. Let's keep backing our team. Just by one bad result, it doesn't make us, a poor team and Australia a much greater team than us. We are still the favorites to win this series 3-1. So let's continue to back our team and hope we cement our spot for the World Test Championship final in June. So we'll be coming back to you next after the fourth test. The fourth test is in Ahmedabad from March 9 to March 13.
Mm.
So hopefully during our next video we'll be celebrating an Indian win and an entry into the WTC final. Till then, keep sharing your love. We look forward to your comments, to you subscribing to our channel as well and sharing your thoughts. We're a new YouTube channel, so all the love and opinions from you matter a lot to us. So keep safe, and we'll be catching you after the fourth test. Till then, it's a wrap from Sumit and I. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you.